Hi, Drew. While it's just the two of us, I want to extend my sincerest sympathies to you. I really thought this year, I'm so proud that you're still wearing your gear. Good for you. You haven't slipped into a state of depression. You didn't burn it all. You're holding out hope for next year.
There's always next year. Always next year.
Oh, live to fight another year, Drew Stirs. Do you think it'll happen in your lifetime?
100%. It's gonna happen next year.
Okay, 100%. I love that. Is there like any money accompanying that? Like 100%? Is this an exchange of, is this a bet happening right here?
It is not. I've been wrong many times.
Okay. Hi, Becca. Okay, Bex, who sleeps in the top bunk there?
Elizabeth.
Is she in there right now?
No.
That's probably a good plan. So are you bottom bunk or is that Hannah?
That's me.
Okay. Good. Well, we will wait another minute or so. A few. Do you guys have any summer work lined up? Any jobs that have money attached to them? Not just chores? Babysitting? Not sure. Drew, are you getting put to work on the farm there? You working in the agricultural sector?
I'm gonna be on vacation a lot this summer.
Vacation a lot. Really?
Mm-hmm.
Tell me, please, if you don't mind, where are you going?
Well, for 2 weeks, I go up north with Adrian because he always invites me.
Yep.
And then when we get back, we rent a cottage out in Port Stanley for 2 weeks.
Nice. So why Port Stanley?
Because
I'm gonna kick it off with, so we've talked a little bit about summer jobs. And I'm trying to let someone in, but here we go. We've talked a little bit about summer jobs, and summer jobs can be the thing that motivates you to want to do some kind of trade or post-secondary endeavor. I had some wicked bad summer jobs, and they were the things that made me save my money so that I could go to school so I didn't have to do that for 40 years. So I had some great summer jobs, but some summer jobs that helped me realize, oh, this is not what I want to do for the rest of my life. So I worked on a dairy farm, loved it, good, honest work, had some great muscle tone that year, did hay and straw, but it made me think, ooh, I really don't, I'm a stress ball. So depending on the weather for my livelihood, when I've never grown up with that, I'm a city girl, is a really big stretch. Also, cleaned out Johnny on the Spots for a couple weeks in the summer for the Red Cross. That was pretty terrible. Didn't think to pack like splash goggles that day. I had like some overalls, so that was fine, but didn't think of the spray back from a Johnny on the Spot that comes at you with a hose, you know, like that spray back. So pretty thankful I didn't come home with a disease, but I felt for a little while like I maybe had. So summer jobs. And then I worked at like Foodland, cashier forever, just squirreling away money and then writing a big fat check at the end of the summer to go to university with all of the money that you have saved all year long and all summer long. It's a pretty crazy experience. So we're talking a little bit about jobs today, and we're talking especially about the service industry. So the page, hi Alexa, sorry, I was right in the middle of my rant on jobs. Welcome. This is the page. Oh, look, there's a big X on the page. the people that don't watch the seminar are gonna have to do a little extra. So that is just on the back of this page that you did yesterday. Okay, so if you can flip to the back of that page, the first heading is list 4 reasons why the service industry has grown so large. So this is where I'm just gonna share my screen. Why isn't that coming up? Just can you guys see my slideshow now? Okay, perfectos. Okay, all the way up to the beginning. So 4 reasons why the service industry has grown so large. So if we compare this, it really helps if we think back like 100 years. We can see, hey, we need fewer farm laborers because we have amazing machines like combines. And we don't need one person sitting at home making shoes with their family, which is what used to happen. We have factories where everyone has a specific job and you churn out thousands of shoes a day. So machines and factories have replaced workers. Canadians, again, compared to 100 years ago, have more money to enjoy more leisure and services. You think of maybe some of the stories from your grandparents, or if you were so blessed to have great grandparents alive to tell some stories of living through the Depression or the World War II. We just have way more money. So maybe haircuts were always done at home, not just during COVID, like we've done them, but that was just how it was done. And maybe you just had a buzz because that's all mom knew how to do. Things like that. As people get money, they want to pay a professional to do their hair. That's just a simple example of, as you have more money, you may want things differently. Maybe clothes were made at home largely even 50 years ago. Now it's like, ooh, if we're desperate, we might remake something for a younger sibling, but generally, if we have the money, we want to buy the thing that we want. Okay, so that's number 2. Number 3, there's greater educational opportunities, or ops there, allowed people to get specialized skills. So there's just more universities, more colleges, more availability for people to get some special training. And then the other reason that we have a growing service industry is we have a growing population. So whenever we have a bigger population, we are naturally going to have more people that we need to provide services for. So those are the 4 main reasons, and I am going to share my slides. So if you don't get all of them and you need to just slip back to get that, just be assured I will share this. Yeah, okay. So Alexa, I don't know if you heard this. I am going to share my slides on our EDSB page at the end of our seminar. So if you don't get all the blanks, don't worry, it'll be there. So the first sector we're going to talk about, and this is on your little table here. I want you to put a big X, like vertically, through basic or non-basic. So I'll hold mine up. We're not even going to do basic or non-basic. Okay, it's not essential. So we're going to chop that bad boy. So under description, wholesale is the selling of goods to businesses and stores. So Walmart would get its goods from a wholesale company. And then Walmart would sell them to us. So retail is the selling of goods to the public. So we go to Walmart to buy our goods. We don't go to some wholesale place. So some examples of people involved or working in wholesale and resale trades would be a warehouse worker for Amazon. They're working their tail off these days because everything's closed, and that's the only place it feels like we can buy some of the things that we want and need. Just the cashier at Circle K who gives you your overpriced slushie. Home hardware owner. These are some just everyday examples of people who are working in wholesale or retail. And these are mostly retail that I've shared with you, other than the warehouse worker for Amazon. Okay, so if you just write 2 examples for each category of industry, that's fine with me. I'll have more than 2 most of the time, but you just need 2. Oh man, so grouchy. There we go. Okay, in the healthcare and social services, sorry, this should be healthcare and social services, not professional. So just switch that up because I'm in present mode, so it's not letting me switch anything right now. So healthcare, you guys got this, involves dental and medical care and research. So there's a ton of people working right now in the healthcare research, trying to figure out a vaccine, trying to figure out the trends, watching COVID. There's just a boatload of people who were researching other things and have switched to kind of get on board and figure this thing out. Social services, these are employment counseling. So if you're needing to get a job and you don't really know where to start, maybe you need some help with a resume, maybe you didn't finish high school, there are employment counseling services right here in St. Thomas. There's daycare centers, those are social services, homeless shelters, and then there's counseling available. So those are all examples of social services. So when you go to therapy later in life for all of the things that your parents did wrong, you will be involved in social services. Jokes. We joke about this at my house. Like, talk to your therapist. So examples are doctors, nurses, dietitians, x-ray techs. So if you have the joy of having a baby way far down the road and you go to that ultrasound and you get to see your baby's heartbeat and see your baby sucking their thumb and wiggling around, that will be done by someone in the healthcare and social services. So just 2 examples again of professions that are involved is fine. So business and professional services. Oh, you don't have this one. Okay, skipperoo. Education services. This is elementary and secondary schools, universities, colleges, vocational training, religious training, so seminaries. Mr. Fisher just finished his seminary degree last year. And then also people who are new to Canada can get English as a second language or French as a second language. So new Canadians, immigrants, and refugees also have access to ESL, FSL programs. Examples of education services, STCCS, Redeemer University, University of Western Ontario, UWO, Fanshawe College, Marvel Beauty School, Darcy Lane Massage Therapy School. These are just some local examples that you might be familiar with. Just grab a couple of those to write down. Okay, when you make eye contact with me, I'll know you're ready for the next slide. Accommodation and food services. So this is really rapidly growing as people travel and eat out more. Again, it's helpful if we don't think back to within your lifetime, but if you think back to maybe things your parents or grandparents have said about, oh, you're so lucky to be eating out again when I was your age, it just wasn't as common. There weren't as many places to eat out, and just money, we didn't have as much kind of general wealth to be spending eating out or traveling. Pretty common for people to have 2 weeks vacation, not 6 or 8 weeks, you know, 50 to 100 years ago. Okay, so I want you to pause after you're done giving some examples of this accommodation, and I want to talk about these things within COVID time. So some industries that are involved in this and people with jobs in this service industry: hotel desk clerk, Airbnb host, housekeeper, tour guide, skip the dishes delivery person. When we think about COVID and when we think about some of the jobs that have been hardest hit, if we look back to wholesale retail trade, healthcare and social services, educational services, accommodation and food services, which of those do you think has taken a pretty hard hit? You can type it into the chat or you can just say it. When the government has mandated stay-at-home and closures, what kinds of closures have happened? And then have those people still gotten paid or not? So let's take education services. Although schools have been closed, you have still been receiving an education, and mercifully, I have still been receiving a paycheck. So although education services have been affected, it has not meant that I'm unemployed. Healthcare and social services, have we shut hospitals? Have nurses been out of jobs? No, it's kind of been the reverse. Like, we've needed more nurses, we've needed more doctors, we've needed them to work longer shifts. There's probably going to be a really big bad bill attached to the overtime we've needed to pay these professionals to give COVID shots and keep doing the things that we need them to do. What about wholesale and retail trade? Any of your favorite stores closed during this time? Any of the places you would have liked to look around or pick things up from? Winners is closed, people. That's been hard. Like, it just arrived in St. Thomas. It's open. Nope, now it's closed. Now it's open. Nope, now it's closed. So I'm kind of joking, kind of not joking, that I will be really looking forward. I just like to look around at stuff. I just like to pick things up and admire how pretty they are. I like to put them in my cart and then drive around the store and then put some of them back. I just like that. So it's hard for me when HomeSense, Winners, and Marshalls are closed. So that is a retail place, or you go to Giant Tiger or Walmart to pick up something just like pretty for spring, and oh, there's like all this caution tape and police tape over everything that you can only get groceries. So clearly I'm showing that I'm a mom and I have different interests than you, but I know some of you have been to the dollar store and maybe there was something you wanted other than just candy, and it was like behind all this tape, or it wasn't even there. So those are some examples. Retail stores have had a hard hit, especially small businesses that sell special things into a maybe specific market. That's been really, really hard. And then I would also talk about accommodation and food services. So when you're not allowed to travel, people who have jobs in hotels and Airbnb industries are really hard hit because no one's traveling except for emergency or business situations. So this industry, or this category within this industry of the service industry, has been really hard hit. And there may be some hotels, some Airbnbs, some resort centers that just close. Airlines, again, like just, it's hard to pay people when you're not receiving any money because no one's flying. So those are some examples of just how COVID has kind of affected some of these industries. Okay, transportation and warehousing, really easy. This just involves a movement of goods and people. So lots of transport trucks. If you drive the 401 west or east, you see lots of transport trucks moving goods around. And we see buses, again, not as much because we're not allowed. But if we lived in a bigger city like London, they're still running public transit because people need to get from place to place. They do in St. Thomas, it's just a little more hit and miss. People either bike, walk, or don't go places if they don't have their own vehicle, it seems, in St. Thomas. Okay, and then we have like just warehouse supervisors. So these giant warehouses where Walmart may buy their wholesale goods and store them till it's more Christmas time. So they're already stockpiling their Christmas decorations, but they know we'll get really, really crusty as consumers if we start to see Christmas goods in June. So they house them in warehouses and bring them out when they need to, which is just after Halloween. Okay, the last sector we're going to talk about is information, culture, and research. So this is another one that's growing really rapidly. We have internet providers, we have piano teachers, we have pro singers, so different than maybe like someone who sings in our worship team on Sunday. We have people who, this is their job, this is how they make their living. That's what just a professional means, is that's your profession, that's your job. We have pool guys, so people who come and open up our pools for us so we don't have to. And then they'll come and clean it, or they'll come and shock it when we've done something wonky with the chemicals. We have website hosts, museum tour guides, librarians, pro gamers. These are all examples of jobs within this particular sector. Okay, so that is it for that page. And the last thing we're going to just talk about is future trends. Our font got a little bit messed up here. Oh, Rebecca's back. Sorry about that. It just changed a little bit on me in the copying process, but we have 9 boxes to talk about. Some trends for the future. And I touched on some of these just in terms of, there we go. Just in terms of how we can see COVID having affected things. So even before COVID, we saw online shopping eliminating some retail stores and retail jobs. So online shopping is a trend for the future that it seems like is only going to expand, only increase. So that is something you can put in one of those boxes. Online shopping. So again, you're just working away at this page, your last page. Woo-hoo. So online shopping eliminates retail stores and jobs. Another trend for the future is we're seeing more and more automated checkouts at stores. That's going to eliminate cashiers and other personnel. in my lifetime, smaller grocery stores had bag boys. So guys who, when the cashier had rung the stuff in, put them in bags and carried them out for the customers. So that has even been a major change for how grocery stores operate. They no longer offer that assistance. You've got to be able to get your own groceries out to your car. We see just elimination of people doing these jobs. Automated booking and email eliminates some secretarial work. So sometimes massage therapists, chiropractic doctors, and hairdressers, instead of having a receptionist, will have a booking system where you can book your own appointment. And that is great for them because they don't need to pay someone to answer the phone, because we have voice message systems. Even just think about before you were able to leave a message for someone to tell them why you were calling or what you needed. That is in my lifetime. Like, voicemail is new in the last 25 years. So before that, if you called for an appointment and you didn't get through, you'd have to keep calling until someone picked up and answered your call and wrote you in for an appointment. So we see some of these changes affecting how people do certain jobs, or just we don't need those jobs anymore. Automated banking reduces tellers. Again, this is in my lifetime, that you can send EMTs. You don't have to write a check. You don't have to go to the bank during banking hours to cash checks or things like that. You can send them in through the automated machine. Your employer can send your money right to your bank account in an automatic deposit. You can send money to your church by signing up for automatic withdrawal. This is all, we don't need tellers to do these things anymore. So those are some trends and some changes. Okay. And I want us to just talk for a couple minutes here. At the turn of the last century, so those early 1900s, you're going to learn more about that in grade 10 history, about this mechanization. So going from needing lots of farm laborers to don't need that many, because a couple of guys can get things planted, get things harvested in a way they've never been able to do that before. Again, factories, we're not making shoes. Every home isn't a little factory, but we are creating buildings and creating a streamlined process. So those machines and factories eliminated a whole bunch of just day laborer jobs. So farm laborers and cobblers and other people who were doing labor jobs, those got eliminated with factories and machines. But people bounced and they discovered other things to do and to contribute. So I feel like we're kind of at an opportunity where we need to bounce again. So some of the things that we have tended to rely on, we don't need anymore. We don't need as many cashiers. We don't need as many bank tellers. We don't need as many receptionists. So we have some opportunities to figure out, as you think about what you want to do, you might want to think about, well, what am I sure people are going to need probably in the next number of years? Like healthcare seems to be an area that's booming. Pharmaceuticals, people are on a lot of medications, a lot more than they used to be. So there's a whole bunch of industries that are booming. And I think that we will maybe even start processing some of our goods and our raw materials within Canada again, as we talked about at the beginning of this unit, how we were in the habit of farming those things out, selling our raw materials for really cheap. Think of that ice skate that only costs a couple dollars in raw materials, but then we buy it back as a fully made skate and pay a lot more for it. So maybe a trend will be we process our own raw goods better than relying on China or Mexico or Taiwan or some other place to do that for cheap. How many boxes do you have left that are not filled in? Can pop it into the chat or just tell me. Four. Bex has 4. Okay. So why don't, oh, I have a message in the chat. Hold the phone. 5, Lexa? Okay. Just picking up my message here. 4. Okay. Good. So I'm going to make a note. I'm going to cross off 4 boxes. Okay, Alexa, you can cross off your 5. Everyone else gets to cross off 4 boxes. Just put an X through them, and I've made a note on my sheet. Okay, so again, if you should have some benefit for being part of our seminar, and that is it, that there will be no marks taken off for you for crossing those boxes off. So this is it. If you are done geography, you've tracked with us up until now, this package is now done. What you need to do is to write your name on it, and maybe even my name, so that the people sorting these things don't have a coronary. Okay, so right at the beginning, staple it together. If you have a stapler, that would be awesome. That'd be my preferred means of holding this together. If not, paperclip is fine. And then this, along with your geography textbook, I want you to bring to your first exam on Wednesday of next week, which I think is English. So that is June the 16th. Just bring it, and we'll have a desk where you can put your geography book and you can put your culminating unit, and I'll grab those after exams, after the exam that day. Okay, so make sure you do submit your geography textbook, and make sure you do submit this. If you forget on the way to your exam, because you're thinking about all things English, later that day, your parent is probably coming for the last pickup drop off. So maybe they could just bring that along, or just bring it your next exam, okay? Sometime in exam period, I wanna get all these textbook back. And as soon as you can give me your geography culminating, the sooner the better. The happier I am when I'll be marking it. And when I'm happy, I tend to be like, oh, that wasn't quite what I was looking for, but it's pretty close. The grouchier I get, I'm like, nope, that wasn't what I was looking for. So hand it in early. Kind of joking, sort of not. That's it. You did it. I'm so proud of you guys. Geography is done when your culminating is done. No exam, so get that done. And if you have questions as you're finishing up, feel free to email me. I'm still available, still your geography teacher, but no more classes. So next week, just spend the time to finish this up, or study for your other exams if you're all done. Okay? You guys are champs. Way to go. See ya.